Hello, Nova Nation. It's WXVU Sports Director David Szczepanski here in our WXVU studios getting ready for Villanova versus Monmouth. The Wildcats 2025 CAA opener is just a little while away on Saturday at Kessler Stadium. Kickoff at 1 p.m. in West Long Branch, New Jersey. Our WXVU pregame show will begin at 12:30 p.m. And this is going to be such an exciting game. You have two top 25 FCS programs going at it. There's so much to look forward to in this contest when we break it down. Of course, Villanova coming off of a 52-6 loss to Penn State. And when you look at the score, it was a blowout. But as Coach Ferrante said this week, there were some positives to take away from that game, especially defensively. Villanova in the first half, I thought, played a really solid defensive game against the really high-powered Penn State offense. The secondary was much better. They made more tackles than they did against Colgate in the season opener. Then in addition to that, Brandon Minkowski had his first career touchdown reception in that game at the buzzer on a pass from Tanner Maddox. So there were definitely some positives to take away. David Abbott also had a really good performance, seemed to be back to where he was last year in his freshman year for Villanova. So there were some positives to take away. Coach Ferrante also said that he was happy with the effort that his team gave against Penn State. And, you know, it's obviously really difficult to beat the second best team in the country, especially when you're an FCS program. But Coach Ferrante did stress how happy he was at the effort that really Villanova gave throughout that game in State College. Villanova 1-1 coming into this game against Monmouth, beating Colgate in the season opener. When you look at Monmouth really this year, they've had a pretty good start to their season. They're 2-1 are the Hawks. 2 wins to begin the season against Colgate and Fordham, and then a loss in their most recent contest against Charlotte. That was their FBS opponent this season, and they really kept it close. Their offense had a really nice performance again. It really just kind of came down to their defense at the end, and they weren't able to steal win against Charlotte, but still a pretty good game. And this Monmouth team is really run by their offense. They average more than 42 points per game. Derek Robertson is their quarterback. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the FCS, especially in the CAA, and he was named to so many awards, so many preseason first teams in the offseason. He already has 14 passing touchdowns in 3 games. He does have 5 interceptions, but he has over 1,200 passing yards. He has 100 completions. He throws the ball a ton, so you expect the interceptions to be there somewhat. But last year, he had 31 passing touchdowns at the end of the season. He already has 14, so he is on pace to really crush that number from last season. And if you remember the game last year that Villanova played at Kessler Stadium, Derek Robertson threw only 1 incomplete pass, and it was actually swatted by one of Villanova's defensive linemen. So if the ball made it to the secondary, as Coach Ferrante said at his midweek press conference earlier this week, there's a good chance it might have been caught. So when you look at that, Robertson has had a really nice campaign there at Monmouth, and he's off to a great start this year. But really, their offense as a whole, as I said, averaging 42 points per game. Their rushing attack is pretty good with Rodney Nelson, who is averaging almost 6 yards a carry. And really, their wide receiver core, in addition to Robertson and Nelson, is what makes this team so lethal. They have 3 really wide receiver ones. TJ Spite, Josh Derry, who is their best wide receiver, already has more than 350 yards this season and 6 touchdowns. Then you also have Gavin Nelson as well. So 3 really good receivers that are able to help Robertson, who really just gets the ball out quickly. He's able to throw the ball downfield, pick up a lot of yards. So this offense for Monmouth is really tough to stop. And on the flip side of things, as good as Monmouth's offense is as bad as their defense is. They average 36 points allowed per game. This is a defense, especially in the secondary, that is really young. They will give up some points. Their defensive line does have some talent. They're younger there as well, but it's really Monmouth's secondary that gives up a lot of points. They'll give up a lot of yards. Their rushing defense can somewhat hold their own, but it's really their passing defense. When you look at yards per catch this year, it's above 15. So they will give up a lot of yards. And when you kind of match that up to Villanova's offense with Pat McQuaid in the first game against Colgate, the way he was throwing the ball down the field to guys like Luke Coella, I know there was also a couple big catches for Lucas Kopecki in that game. You would think that Villanova does match up really well against this Monmouth secondary, which has really struggled in the first 3 games this year. Just to give you kind of a look at how high scoring the games that Monmouth have played in this year, when you look at Monmouth and their opponent this season in the first 3 games they played against Colgate, Fordham, and then against Charlotte, the 2 teams are averaging more than 73 points per game. So when you just kind of match, more than 78 points per game, 78.3 points per game. So when you match all of that up, really it just goes to show you that Monmouth and their opponent are playing in high-scoring games. So more than 78 points combined between Monmouth and their opponent in the first 3 games. So you match that up and you have to think this is going to be a high-scoring game for Villanova. It's really going to come down to, in my opinion, who can get that key defensive stop, especially in the fourth quarter. The game against these 2 teams last year came down to the wire. Villanova tried to complete a double-digit comeback and just fell a little bit short. But I think this game is going to come down to the wire. I like the way that Pat McQuaid matches up and these receivers match up against this Monmouth defense. But I think it's really going to come down to who can get that late defensive stop, Villanova or Monmouth, because you know both teams are going to score. This game is probably going to at least be in the 30s, so that key defensive stop is going to come down really to who wins this game really late in this game, probably in the fourth quarter. Villanova has never defeated Monmouth in the 3 games that these two teams have played, so it would be good for the Wildcats to finally get their first win on Saturday at Kessler Stadium. Supposed to be sold out. The weather's supposed to be beautiful here in mid-September. I believe temperatures are going to be around 75 to 80 degrees on Saturday in West Long Branch, New Jersey. It's family weekend for Monmouth, so they have sold out. There are no tickets left, 4,200 seats in Kessler Stadium. I would imagine, like last year, there'll be a good amount of Villanova fans there as well. So it's going to be a playoff-type atmosphere here in the middle of September. 2 top FCS teams going at it, Villanova versus Monmouth, and the Wildcats CAA opener on Saturday. Stay tuned for more coverage on my social media. Our WXVU live coverage from Kessler Stadium will begin at 1 p.m. with kickoff, but we'll have pregame coverage at 12:30 p.m. as myself and Stephen Kane will be on the call. Thanks for tuning into this preview video, Nova Nation. I'll see you very soon. Have a great rest of your day. I'm David Szczepanski, and as always, go Cats!